What's up, guys? We just got our first big delivery. Ta-da! This week, Mike's dream is coming true. He gets to talk about cars on a YouTube channel.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's video. We want to show you our truck which just arrived. Zeus is very excited about how big the bed is and talk to you about why we did this the way we did.
We ordered this back in January and it's finally here and we get to tell you about it.
It's here and it's ginormous.
It's huge.
And it took like 5 months, but that's no never mind. Before we get into it, disclaimer, huge car guy, not a huge truck guy actually, which is weird because I live in a state where everybody drives a truck, but I just enjoy something that's a little tighter and more involving most times. So it was a little bit of a bummer when I sold my car that I loved so that we could get this truck, but we have to have it and we want to explain why that is and why we went with the particular one that we did. To start off, in order for us to get this project done, we both have full-time jobs. This is a nights and weekends thing. I plan on being exhausted for the next 2 years. It's just gonna be like 2 grind years and I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be rad. But we have to be on site, otherwise we're never going to get it done. And if we're going to live on site, we need some sort of a trailer. Unfortunately, a big fifth wheel trailer is enormously heavy. So I wanted to get like a 3 or 4 year old used truck, 50, 60,000 miles, good condition, going to be reliable so that we can sit 2,500 pounds on the fifth wheel in the back of the truck. What I learned took us in a different direction. Looking into the payload capacities of various pickups, it turns out that payload is simply like the gross vehicle weight minus everything else. So when they say payload, that does not mean what fits in the bed of the truck to be hauled around. It is passengers, it is fuel, it is anything inside the truck and anything in the back of the truck. So when we have a 2,500 pounds weight right on the rear axle, we actually need more than that so that we can put ourselves, our gear, so that Zeus can fit in there and the truck won't explode somewhere in Logan Canyon on Highway 89, which meant that unfortunately we had to go with a 1-ton truck, which kind of stinks because they're stiffer, but it's awesome because we can do whatever we want with it. It's going to do everything we need it to do. Now, why, when I wanted a used truck for less money, did I buy a new truck? On the used truck market right now, because manufacturing is slow and there's a ton of demand and everybody drives trucks in Utah, a used truck is actually more money. And it sounds super crazy. I thought it was nuts myself when I found out, but a used truck with 100,000 miles is more than this brand spanking new truck because you can have it today. I went to a Ram dealer and I went to a Ford dealer and I went to a Chevy dealer and they said, Mike, if you want a new truck, it's gonna be here in 6 months. And this took not quite that long, but it took almost that long. It took like 4.5 months to arrive. So I started looking at the various specs that you can get in trucks. And as we all know, they're super expensive. This is meant to be a work item. This is not a play item. I don't plan on keeping this for the rest of my life, even though I'm sure it's a killer truck. I want to walk you around right now and talk to you about the model that we chose and the why and some of the cool little small details that we added, even though it's just a work truck. First of all, let's start with Ram, Ford, or Chevrolet. I went to a Ford dealership. My intent was to try all three and get the one that I wanted. Unfortunately, Fords are even farther behind than any of the other manufacturers. They didn't have one to show me. They didn't have a used one that I could drive. And in fact, they told me that it was going to be 7 to 8 months if I ordered one. So not wanting to plunk down a large amount of money on something I had never seen or driven, I didn't do that. And I went over to Chevrolet. Now, Chevrolet, not my favorite for the way they look. I'm sure they make a fine truck. It drove really nicely, but it's just got this squinty sort of a face thing going on. And those were 4 to 5 months out. When I went and spoke with Ram, they said, not only can we get you one in 4 to 5, but if you order it, because it's no skin off our back, and if you're willing to put down a deposit, we won't charge you above MSRP, which I know it sounds crazy that, you know, everybody, like, that's the up to amount in most car negotiations. But in today's world, dealers are charging for trucks that are on the lot $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 above MSRP. So I decided to order one. That is why wound up with a Ram. I like the way it looks and is going to do what we need it to do as far as towing capacity. We need something that can haul heavy loads up windy, slow canyons and not break down. We need something that's reliable, and we need something that isn't going to overheat when we push it really, really hard, because we're going to have to do that. So I went with the lowest spec truck you can buy from Ram, and then we added a couple of optional extras, and I want to show you what they are. So if you come over here, the first one is this little camera that's beneath the least subtle branding in the history of planet Earth. This little camera is a front end camera, and it allows you to not run into things in front of the truck. This hood that covers the massive 6.7 liter diesel engine is extremely long, and it's hard to tell where the end of the truck is from behind the wheel, which is, 4 more feet back. So having a camera on the front of the truck is super helpful. So that was one optional add-on, and actually it's not just the front camera, it has side cameras, and it has 2 cameras on the back of the truck. One looks into the bed, and the other one, it looks down at the trailer hitch and make sure that you don't, back into anybody in a parking lot. So that was a safety feature for me I really wanted to have, because it's just easy to run into stuff when you're operating a vehicle that's this large, and we don't usually operate vehicles this large. I want to show you guys the interior. First thing you'll notice is that these are hard, nasty plastics. It's not nice, it's not comfortable. It is, however, easy to clean, and it is super durable. So we have cloth seats. This is as base as the interior gets. We didn't add anything. This is just to get us through the construction phase. We want to be able to throw dirty stuff back there. Zeus's paws are going to be muddy for 2 years straight. I don't want to care about that, because at the end of the day, it is a tool. So this is as crude as it gets in a modern truck, which is still pretty comfortable. Like, trucks are nice all the way around these days, but this is as bare bones as it gets, guys. So the one thing we did want to have in this truck is the ability not only to see the cameras really well, but to have Apple CarPlay, which is really nice for navigation. It's a great system generally, and along with the cameras came this larger screen, so that we can navigate all of that. And that was the one real concession to technology that we made for just our own happiness and everyday convenience. I do want to walk you around a couple of optional extras that we added to this thing. The first thing you might notice down here is just some covers for the rocker panels. These tires, they throw a ton of rocks at the bottom of the truck, and it just chips off the paint. And because of all the salt and the ice and the snow and the gnarly winters that we have in northern Utah, it makes sense to protect those so that the bottom of the truck doesn't start rusting immediately, which it will if you do nothing. Another thing I added is this cover. This is, I think, the brand is Backflip. It's really nice. They're slick. You can roll it up and down really easy. It'll even fold up flat all the way against the cab of the truck if you want. And you can even, at this kind of 3/4 roll up, you even uncover the fifth wheel. So when we're towing the big trailer, we'll still have the use of our back window. That part is pretty good. And when you do fold it out again, it's super flush. It looks nice, keeps water out. So I'm thinking about, the tools that are going to be back here and exposed to rain and snow, and they will be protected from the elements there. Let's see, there it goes. The only other thing I did, I don't know how many car guys are actually going to watch this, but if you feel like I do, that the way the machine makes you feel when you're operating it is actually the heart of enjoying what a vehicle is. If you know it's ugly, it's impossible to enjoy it. The stock chrome wheels that they came with, which are just like flat stamped steel wheels covered in chrome, look horrendous. They're so bad. So I found somebody who was getting rid of his nice wheels off of his new truck, just a little swapperoo with the local classifieds, and it looks so much nicer now, in my opinion. There were a couple of spaces where I just blew it, frankly. Looking down the options box, the numbers add up really fast. It's easy to spec out a truck to $75,000, $80,000, even $90,000. And that wouldn't be the most expensive truck you can buy. There are 2 things for which I didn't check the options box, and I wish I would have, because it would have been more convenient. and it is stuff that I ended up adding anyway, at least in this case. So the first of those two is the factory spray-in bed liner. Now in this case, I didn't lose any money. It's exactly the same price to have a Rhino liner, which is what I did in this case, as the factory bed liner. It's really easy. You drop the truck off, they do it same day, they mask everything off. It looks nice, it has clean lines. It's super thick, and this just makes sure that we don't scrape through the paint and create a rust problem as we're walking around the truck. Also, if you've ever walked around in a painted truck bed when it is wet and you're carrying something heavy, it's extremely sketchy. So this is just, for me, this is a must-have. The other thing I blew is automatic climate control. It was $200. We have knobs that we use to control the fan speed as well as the temperature of the air that's coming out of them, and I didn't check the box because I didn't see it, so I just blew it, guys. Turns out I make mistakes. This is the truck we got. Let us know what you think. If you hate Rams, let me know. I know, you know, there's a connotation with aggressive driving that I get, and I think maybe is just a truck thing. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.
If you have name suggestions,
Are we gonna name it?
we should probably name it, right?
It's just, well, I think we have to decide what kind of persona this thing has.
Yeah, real beastly. Loud, not that loud, actually.
I'm thinking like a strong feminine vibe,
Yeah.
like Gerta or
Character.
Good Moon or
But it's a Ram. This is an American car, so
That's
probably
true.
American.
What's like a sturdy, like Rosie the Riveter,
Yeah,
you know, something in that.
something in that category.
I think so.
We can noodle on that.
Yeah, now help us out with that, because
Help
those
us
were
out.
terrible ideas.
Those were all terrible ideas.